there was text messages that demonstratively said that his coach was allowing him to play. Now, if they were legitimate text messages from his coach, John Duffy, then what else more would he have needed? It seemed like a convenient way to make way of an older player when you've got new aspirations at the club, to bring in another older player like Gareth Hock, I don't know. But, so I think it's good for Griffin, because maybe he would have been really disenfranchised with the sport that had given him a decent living. Yeah. And hopefully this means that he won't feel that way, and it kind of frees him up to sign with someone else. Yeah. And actually, if he does sign with someone else, that'll help Featherstone with what they're going to have to pay him for loss of earnings. It means that it'll be less if he gets a contract with someone else. And I believe that is on the radar of some of the Yorkshire-based League One clubs, with Keighley the favourites to sign him for the rest of the year. So there you go. Right. Another Swinton story. One that you have a personal interest in.
Swinton have signed Germany halfback and Newton Storm product Brad Bilsborough with immediate effect. Bilsborough was released by League One club Whitehaven last week due to travelling difficulties, and the Lions have acted swiftly to secure his services. The 19-year-old has been a key player for Haven this year and joined Swinton with a promising reputation after previously being in St Helens Academy. So Brad's he was the first player to come all the way through the Newton Storm system and actually sign a contract and sign with Saints. And when our under sevens teams were handed their shirts at the start of the season, he came down in his Whitehaven kit and handed the shirts out to all the kids and shook their hands and everything. He's a really good kid and a really nice guy. So I wish him all the best. I think I haven't actually seen him play. Never seen him play for Saints or for Whitehaven. So, but I understand he's a good prospect. So
he adds to the melting pot of what Swinton might be able to select from. Is there other positions he can play? Because one position they've struggled for this year at Swinton, I know his fullback's not been as strong, because Jack Murphy's one of the players who left at the end of last year. Right. He was a great championship fullback, but could he fill in anywhere else like that?
I think hooker. I think
hooker.
I think that would be probably his two sort of best positions, but I'm not sure about fullback. But
fair enough. Interesting stuff. Anyway. Whitehaven, more Whitehaven news following on from that. In fact, I'll just roll these two stories together because it's Whitehaven all the way until the end finally. Whitehaven have released forward Carl Alstrom from his contract by mutual consent. The loose forward signed a 1-year deal, only just signed a 1-year extension with them in the off-season, but Whitehaven have confirmed he's been released from his contract. He made 10 appearances for his hometown club last year after nearly a decade over at close rivals Workington Town. And to replace what they've lost, and particularly around the hookers, is maybe the suggestion here. They've signed St Helens hooker Josh Eves on an initial month's loan deal. Eves, who's 20, played 25 times for Saints in either reserve or academy sides last year, and was part of their unbeaten academy championship winning side in 2016, which was a very sharp side led by Danny Richardson. But Eves there, I mean, Saints maybe regret this with if James Roby picked up a proper injury, they might be recalling him before he's even got a chance to really get going at Whitehaven. But there you go, some bits of news from up in Cumbria and covering off some League One stuff there for you. And finally, more League One stuff. And this has been the story that's got everyone chatting over the weekend. Saturday night and Sunday was all about this story. And it's Bradford and Workington. I've lifted this from the Love Rugby League website, so it's a good source of rugby league news on there, and I've lifted this from there because it's got all the pertinent stuff in it. It says Bradford and Workington have fired shots at each other in separate statements over live streaming their League One clash on Sunday. Proper Sport and Bulls Live usually stream games live on Facebook, but Workington have declined Bradford's request to stream the game. Town have also declined permission for the Bulls and Proper Sport to broadcast the game as like a delayed stream after the kickoff. Town apparently believe that live streaming the game for free will affect attendance figures for them. I think in the end it got about 1,200 through the gate, which is decent for Workington in their current state. They're not averaging that on a weekly basis at all, so that's probably their best attendance so far this year. Andrew Chalmers, the Bulls chairman, has released the following statement, which said, The Workington Town Board position is a short-sighted, poor decision in not allowing Bulls Live and Proper Sport to live stream or even show any delayed coverage of the game. All Rugby League fans, including young and old fans, and especially Sick supporters, and those who can't make or afford the 7-hour return trip, are denied the opportunity to support, enjoy and celebrate Rugby League. Bigger principles are at stake here. Our great sport of Rugby League deserves to be showcased around the world by every club at every opportunity. Amateur and completely selfish is the only way I can truly describe this decision. I'm sure many Rugby League fans will feel this damages Cumbrian desire for Rugby League inclusion. I'm also sure all sports fans will be equally outraged, and I encourage them to express their views openly. So shots fired there, and they were returned by the Workington Board, who released the following statement in response to Chalmers, which said, "The Workington Town Board are surprised and very disappointed to see the statement issued by the Bradford Bulls chairman this afternoon, as it is inaccurate and inflammatory. We agree that our great sport should be seen by a wider audience, so have found it strange over the last couple of weeks that the Bradford Club have made very little effort to promote the game, particularly on social media. 2 people from the Bradford media team turned up at Derwent Park, and after a brief telephone discussion with a club volunteer a couple of weeks ago to scope out for filming. However, since then, we have had no formal written request to allow filming at Derwent Park, as per the RFL rules. Mid this week, we were in contact with Bradford and agreed that there will be no filming. We believe that live streaming for free could have an adverse effect on the attendance, and that the request to stream afterwards at 6 p.m. could have a similar effect. We do not see the Bradford Bulls as a cash cow, as some Bradford fans are accusing us. Our top price ticket is £15, and we allowed a discount for Bradford fans who purchased ahead of the match. We feel this is a suitable admission price for League One rugby." I agree with that. Yep. "We understand our fans will pay quite a bit more at Odsal. Furthermore, to incite sports fans to express their views openly has resulted in many offensive messages to the club on Twitter and Facebook, which is unnecessary and falls short of the standards we should uphold in our great game. We have been genuinely surprised at the arrogance of some Bradford staff have shown to us this week. We were threatened with a bill for the film crew, and that Bradford will withhold money from pre-match ticket sales. We will not be intimidated by any club, and we will not bow to pressure because of a decision that we, as custodians of our club, have made in the best interests of our club. Although some Bradford staff were unprofessional, we had a frank and friendly conversation with a senior staff member on Friday who understood our decision, and we finished the conversation amicably. We have kept silent until Mr. Chalmers' statement this afternoon because we are a club that tries to be professional and dignified at all times. We feel we must now reply to set matters straight as it is apparent that not everyone shares those values. To be called amateurish and selfish is a slur on the many people who give time, effort and financial input to our club." We had an email at superleaguepod@gmail.com if you want to email us. Alan Cale, guest co-host last week, Bradford fan, said, "Hi Mark, I thought it would be remiss of me not to comment on the spat between Bradford and Workington around the permission for streaming. First things first, Workington were perfectly entitled to deny permission, as much as I think it's a pessimistic perspective to take. Whilst I disagree with the tone and spirit of the communications from the chairman, there is a grain of truth in it. Obviously, with comments, when comments come back to bite you after a defeat, it hardly helps. Without a broadcasting deal, League One clubs have 2 choices. They either stick to traditional marketing via local radio and news, or try something different with streaming, etc. Obviously, Bradford have the means to find a broadcast partner to do the latter, and I really don't see that it will affect attendances. Both York and Keighley games were streamed and were well attended. I'd say that some teams could learn a lot from York this year in terms of marketing their games and getting people through the turnstiles. Cheers, here's to another great show. Alan." A lot to take in there.
I think...
kicks off.
Yeah. I think I agree. It is kind of strange. I know why you wouldn't want to free stream content when you're trying to sell tickets and you want to get, you're struggling to get people through the turnstiles. But I do think Bradford's do have a point. About they're trying to sort of spread the game and they are a big name in that league and they're trying to do something with that content that Sky and all the other broadcasters don't want to do, and
you have to applaud them for that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But then they don't. They kind of don't come out of it with any credit because of the way that Chalmers is. Exactly. It's a petulant, spoiled little kid's response.
If he came out and said, "We feel if it had come out at all, it should have been after the game, I feel, really, even though there will have been some Bulls fans clamouring for a statement about it, knowing that they couldn't watch, or learning that they couldn't watch the game. I kind of accept that, because they're getting really good numbers on the proper sport. Mostly from non-Bradford fans, from all over the show. People like me and lots of our listeners, because it's an extra bit of rugby league to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
But... yeah, if it had ended it, I feel this decision is short-sighted, but we have to respect that Workington want to run their club in the way that they see fit, and this is a choice for them to make. That, to me, would have been enough. And I would have not been wanting to have a go at Bradford for that, because I completely agree. And before I'd read any of the statements around it, I also said I think it's short-sighted by Workington. I think it's short-sighted in the aspect of they've got no actual basis to understand how much the gate would be affected by that decision.
Yeah, because it hasn't affected.
I certainly can't imagine there was tons of Bradford fans who changed their mind and wanted to go to the match all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And the reliance on Bradford fans to turn up to a game to get your short-term income up isn't really the best way to approach running a rugby league club. However, in their predicament and position that they're in, I completely understand why they would want to go about it that way. But I think the Bradford fans that were going to go, and the Bradford fans that weren't going to go, weren't going to go. Yeah. And if anything, you might have turned the odd on the fencer off in some sort of act of defiance. Probably unlikely. They were probably just being keyboard warriors at that stage, because they could be. Because hey, who can prove otherwise? But by saying they're going to boycott the game now or something. But in terms of your own local area fans, I similarly don't think, maybe because of the weather concerns, because it's still been shitty weather, hasn't it? Maybe you're thinking people might not want to rock up and stand at what is relatively exposed stadium, let's say, up there on the west coast of Cumbria. Maybe the odd person might have thought, if the weather's bad, I'll stay in and watch the stream instead. But again, you're talking small numbers. Yeah. And at £15 a ticket as well, when you wrap all that up, you're talking small numbers. Small numbers are important to these not well-off clubs, but you're talking small numbers. What having that stream on could have done to the club is give them exposure again to people who maybe have fallen out of favour with going to games, maybe don't know what the product's like anymore at League One, don't go to watch Workington anymore. They could have been watching that on the internet,
and it was a brilliant game.
Shit, next week I'm going. I'm going to go. I've got the bug again. I'm going to go again. And I think you could potentially have gained as many extra supporters for your next game, which is going to be I'm not sure who it's against. Which is again one of the problems with Rugby League. I don't know who I don't know who their next home game is against. But it's going to be a lower attendance than the Bradford attendance anyway. Yeah. That's the game you need to be aiming at to get your home audience bigger at. Away audiences do not sustain rugby league clubs. They give you a temporary short-term fix when you get the Bradford Bulls coming into town. Fantastic. When you get the local derby, fantastic. They probably cover a lot of what needs to be covered for a team like Workington Town, but they do not sustain a rugby league club. So I feel it's short-sighted. I just can't get on board with the way Chalmers went about his statement, though.
No, it's it's petulant, and he's made it so that Workington have basically emerged with all the credit, and even having made that decision. So
and did the team talk for Leon Price? I mean, Leon Price already had enough motivation in this game. And he just got thrown an extra bite of motivation for all his players, the ones that already weren't going to follow him on that journey, as it were, against the Bulls. It was going to be Bradford fans were going to go because Leon Price was the coach of the opposition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was it. Anyway. What do you think about the streaming content? Any views? I did a blog the other week about the streaming opportunities for the women's game. Yeah. There's lots of other delayed coverage that you can get through subscriptions or through streams and that sort of stuff. What's your sort of take on it? Do you think there should be more of that?
I mean, a lot of people say it's the future. It kind of feels like it is. People are watching Rugby League, they're streaming it anyway. People are stealing the content, aren't they? That's kind of like the reality of it. So if you can get if you can set things like this up, and obviously they're giving it away for free, but I assume there must be some long-term plan to monetize it in some way.
Well, exactly. If for nothing else, through sponsorship, you increase your ability to show the games that way.